The impact of Kaidon Salter mentoring Julian Lewis will be huge. Stay tuned as I break down why, as well as Colorado running back transfer Isaiah Augustave committing to South Carolina. Interesting after he left Virginia due to academic reasons. I'll also break down John Harbaugh mentoring Leonte Wester in Ravens minicamp. That's an interesting tidbit, as well as Colorado wide receiver and FSU transfer Hakeem Williams saying Colorado's strength program is much more difficult for incoming players than Florida State's was. Interesting statement there. Join us for that and much more as we are live here on Bailey Price Media Live. It's going to be a massive show. I'll see you on the other side. Welcome back to another edition of Bailey Price Media Live.
Bailey Price Media Live.
What's going on, everybody? Happy Friday. Welcome back to another edition of Bailey Price Media Live. Today, got a very massive show for you. Got a lot to talk about today, including Colorado running back transfer Isaiah Augustave committing to South Carolina, as well as Colorado getting a new running back in the transfer portal, Leonte Wester being coached up by John Harbaugh and Ravens minicamp, and so much more. Folks, if you're watching, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, become a member of the Bailey Price Media Army today. And if you got any comments, go ahead and leave some comments in the comment section. We want to hear your opinions. Let your opinion be known. But without further ado, let's get into it. We got a lot to talk about here as we are live here on this beautiful Friday on Bailey Price Media Live. Adam, what up? Appreciate you in the chat, my man. Let's get into it. Lots to talk about here. I already teased it in the beginning. But Colorado running back transfer Isaiah Augustave has committed to South Carolina. After initially committing to Virginia, Augustave left Virginia due to academic reasons. Virginia was having issues accepting Augustave's credits from Arkansas, I believe. So he leaves Virginia and goes and commits to South Carolina. I'm a big fan of Isaiah Augustave, 6'2", 210, great running back that can break tackles, get to the second level. And he's pretty damn fast for being 6'2" as well and 200 pounds. Here you see him racing fellow Colorado teammates. Interesting. If Augustave finally finds a home with Shane Beamer in South Carolina. Now, if you ask me about South Carolina, I think they're going to be pretty damn good this season. I've already talked about this previously on this show. I believe South Carolina is going to be a contender in the SEC, one who can win the SEC quite possibly. Now, looking at Isaiah Augustave last season for Colorado, led Colorado in rushing, if that means anything. Colorado didn't really run the ball too much last season, but led Colorado in rushing, 394 yards and 4 touchdowns last season. Obviously, was at Arkansas as well in his freshman year and ran for 200 yards and a touchdown there as well. Now, it's interesting with South Carolina. South Carolina has been dealing with another player that they've been trying to bring in ever since he's transferred from Utah State here. Rashul Faison submitted a waiver for an extra year eligibility with the NCAA. I don't believe he's heard anything back, and in response, they go and bring in Isaiah Augustave, and I think South Carolina got a really good back. Isaiah Augustave got a lot of criticism, I believe, from Colorado Buffalo's fan base because, when he left Colorado, went to Virginia, reportedly had a $500,000 NIL deal that was involved. Obviously, we saw the video of Coach Prime calling out Virginia for tampering with Colorado's players, including Colorado free safety Carter Stoudemire. Now, I don't fault Isaiah Augustave at all for what – he's – you got to understand, he's got a young daughter. He's got a family to feed. And $500K, you don't turn that down. That's a lot of money. And I don't fault him at all. He's a great player. And it's quite possible with the new running back coach and Marshall Faulk, Hall of Famer, by the way, who's I think is going to do wonders for Colorado. It's possible that it may have not been a fit there. I don't know. I was just throwing that out there. But I think South Carolina got a great player in Isaiah Augustave. Now, looking at Colorado's running back room here, it's going to be interesting here. We haven't seen them really. I think it's going to be a little bit of running back by committee, so to speak here. I think, honestly, Dallin Hayden will lead the way. Along with, I'm excited to see Michael Welch as well, who I expect to build on strong true freshman season last season as well. But something else that happened, looking at Colorado gained a new running back transfer. And Coastal Carolina transfer Simeon Price. Simeon Price also played for Mississippi State as well. Actually got a little bit more burn there, Mississippi State. Colorado brings in Simeon Price. I think this is a depth chart move at this point. He's got 1 year of eligibility remaining. We'll see how much they use him, how much of an impact he can have in Colorado's running back room. It's going to be interesting. I really hope that Colorado elects to lean on the run game. That's been the biggest pushback for myself and Matt McChesney. Colorado didn't lead in the run game last season. Obviously, I think we understand why with Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter. Now this season, I don't think they have a choice. They're going to either have a new quarterback, two new quarterbacks. One of them's going to be young or one of them's going to be experienced. Either way, I think they're going to have to lean on the run game. Getting some depth in the running back room definitely helps. So welcome Simeon Price to Colorado. Let's go ahead and move forward here as we're live, folks. We got a lot more to talk about here on Bailey Price Media Live. Let's get into it here. This is an interesting tidbit. I'm gonna go ahead and show this here. Hakeem Williams says that Colorado's strength program was much more difficult for incoming players than Florida State's was. Folks, take a listen to this.
Here we jump right into like a lot. Like Florida State, like we easing on up there. We go up there. We start high as hell. But Florida State, you ease it up. Like you go up there, you start like here and then every week you go up. Instead of here, you start here and there.
Interesting. Now, this is interesting. I saw this on social media, and Colorado Buffaloes Nation reacted accordingly, and Florida State. And I don't know if people caught this. I wish I got a screenshot of it. It pissed me off I didn't. But Jordan Travis, I believe, responded to this, and he said this is not true. So I don't know. A little bit of a controversy there, folks. I don't know if anybody caught that. I caught that, but I believe he deleted the tweet. That's why I can't go and grab it. But I will say, looking at Colorado's strength program, Coach Swayze's been getting after him, no doubt, and with due reason. Coach Swayze's a veteran strength coach, been doing it for a long time, and I think this is exactly what Colorado needed. Shout out to Coach Mo. I thought he did a hell of a job, and he's moved on to FAMU and the Bill Walsh coaching fellowship as well. But I love seeing Coach Swayze get after Colorado. And one thing I wanted to show on Coach Swayze, this is kind of a little bit earlier in the offseason here, but he talks to Colorado, as he's addressing them in the strength, in the weight room here. And he talked about how his best players are his hardest workers. Take a listen.
Key to the success as a coach, I'm saying as a strength coach, and I'm watching them work, they self-policed. They made sure everybody did their reps. The best players was my hardest workers. My best players was my hardest workers. My best players was the hardest workers. So the guys that we count on, you can count on them from the weight room, from conditioning. They always out front, and they the toughest. Your best players got to be your hardest workers.
Now, I talked about Coach Swayze's impact last week, and he getting after him. And as Colorado began, summer workouts here on June 2nd, he's been getting after him. I love it. Colorado prepares for a massive season ahead and looks forward to a Georgia Tech Week 1 matchup that I think is going to be a huge, huge game for Colorado. It's going to be a big dictator of how their season goes, I think. I can't wait to see it. Going back to Hakeem Williams and all the controversy behind with this video here, whether Colorado's strength program harder or not, Florida State's going to be interesting. The pushback from Florida State folks is kind of funny. Florida State and Mike Norvell, y'all got a tough season ahead of you. I'm interested to see how Florida State looks. Got a transfer quarterback coming over from Boston College. I can't wait to see it. But interesting, folks. Let's go ahead and keep moving forward here, folks. One thing I wanted to show here is John Harbaugh mentoring Leonte Wester and Ravens minicamp here. And one tidbit I'll add here, John Harbaugh has a background of special teams and coaching special teams before he became a head coach. And now you see him mentoring Leonte Wester on punt returning. Take a listen to this.
You should be calculating the spot on the field where you think it's going to come down, right? The field's like a grid, you know what I'm saying? You ever see a graph paper?
Yes, sir.
That's what the field is in your mind. So when you see that ball hit the top, you should be in your mind, it's here, it's wherever.
Yes, sir.
And you want to beat the ball to the spot.
Yes, sir.
Okay, are you right-handed or left-handed?
Right-handed.
Okay, I want you to hold this in your left hand. Okay, I want you to catch it with one hand now.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Now, one tidbit I'll add before I keep playing this. I had Ravens staff writer Clifton Brown on my show here a couple weeks ago, and he talked about, Eric DeCosta, the Ravens GM, wanting Leonte Wester to be in the return game. I can't wait to see it. Here you see John Harbaugh, who I mentioned has a special teams background, mentoring Leonte Wester in the return game here, punt returns here, coaching him up. I thought this was a little tidbit I saw that I really like to see. I know Leonte Wester is a great player, hard worker, and I expect him to work his way up here, as you see. And it seems like Harbaugh really likes him. Seems like Harbaugh is really excited to use him in the return game. And I can't wait to see Leonte take one back in the NFL here for Baltimore. That makes me pretty damn excited. Let's go ahead and keep playing it and see some of this. Take a look.
You should be able to catch the ball. You're going to get to the point where you can catch it with one hand, nice and it forces you to square up the ball, and it keeps your elbow nice and tight. Nice, well done. Getting a feel for it now, right? That's what great athletes do. They figure it out. Let's try the other arm. Good. Oh, well done. Okay, let's go with no balls on this one. All right, so now what I want you to do, when you see that ball go up, I want you to run to the spot. Like, say I think the ball's going to go 5 yards over there on the line. That's where I think it's going to go. I want you to run to that spot where you think it's going to go. Pivot, square it up and catch it.
Hey, this makes me pretty happy and excited for Leonte. I expect the Ravens to use him in the return game. Now, the Ravens depth chart kind of tough. He's got to work his way up. A lot of good wide receivers there they keep bringing in. But let's keep watching Leonte work with John Harbaugh.
Okay, not bad, not bad. You're probably within a yard, right? So now you chase perfection, right? The goal is to not even move. That's the ultimate. Okay, got the idea. Good.
Man, one other tidbit I'll add, Leonte Wester, actually in Ravens OTAs, this is last week here, apparently made one of the best catches in Ravens practice, diving to haul a pass over the middle with the defender on his back. I'll say this, Leonte Wester is working his way up in Ravens camp here, and I think he's going to find his way onto the field, whether it's in the return game. I've already mentioned this. I've had sources on here who say they're excited to see Leonte, and they're going to use him in the return game. That's where I expect him to make his biggest impact, and we'll see if he catches a pass or two from Lamar Jackson here in the season. That'll make me pretty excited as well. But Leonte Wester working with John Harbaugh, working his way up here in Ravens camp here as we get closer to the season. Folks, if you're watching, hit that like button, subscribe, become a member. I appreciate all the support in the chat here. Chris, the helmet condom, Leonte and the helmet condom. I don't know how I feel about those. I don't think they actually help. That's just my take on it. I'm really curious to see, if studies start backing that up. I don't know. It's tough for me to buy into that. I wore them a little bit in college, and I don't know. It's kind of funny looking to me. I wish you just had the hard helmet. I wish helmets were heavier. But that was back when I was playing. But let's go ahead and move forward, folks. Got a lot more to talk about here, and let's get into it here. Talk about our thumbnail here. The impact of Kaidon Salter mentoring Julian Lewis. I wanted to kind of touch on this. We got a lot more to talk about here as we're live on Bailey Price Media Live, but impact of Kaidon Salter mentoring Julian Lewis. I want you guys to think about it like this. Arch Manning sat behind Quinn Ewers for 2 seasons and worked his way up and learned and developed in Sark's system. Now this is a little bit different, obviously. Kaidon Salter comes in as a transfer. Julian Lewis comes in as a true freshman. Now, Kaidon Salter has played a lot of football, thrown for over 5,000 yards, rushed for over 2,000 yards, played in a lot of big games with Liberty as well. I believe they played in the Fiesta Bowl against Oregon as well. Just something to think about. Kaidon Salter has played a lot of football, and I think ultimately Colorado is going to lean with him, start him. Now, Pat Shurmur could sprinkle in Julian Lewis and in some certain packages or something. I think there's too much hype around him for Pat Shurmur not to do something with it. but I think Colorado's best bet is start Kaidon Salter, lean on the run game, like I mentioned earlier. You got Marshall Falk as the running back coach. You got Andre Gerard, CU alum, NFL offensive lineman, veteran, as the offensive line coach, along with George Hageman, who's also NFL veteran, offensive lineman as co-offensive line coach. Gunnar White there as well, been with Prime since Jackson State. I think if Colorado leans in the run game, starts Kaidon Salter, that's their best bet. And Julian Lewis will gain and benefit off of watching, learning, and being mentored by Kaidon Salter. Let me know in the chat whether you agree or disagree with that here. Something to think about as we get closer here to a massive season for Coach Prime and the Colorado Buffaloes. We got a lot more to talk about here, folks. If you're watching, go ahead and hit that like button. One thing I wanted to show here as we take a little break here is I had Philip Dukes on my show here a few weeks ago, and he talked about the Julian Lewis versus Kaidon Salter quarterback battle, and he gave an interesting answer about Julian Lewis that I think you guys are going to want to hear. I'll see you guys on the other side. Take a listen to this. Now, how do you feel about this quarterback battle now that you're seeing it up and close in person? Does Julian Lewis have a real shot at maybe possibly starting year one? Is it Kaidon Salter's job? How do you feel about the quarterback battle now that you've seen it in person?
I think the fact that we even call it a battle is a win for Julian. Because when you talk about a guy who was up for National Player of the Year consideration a little over a year ago, we're talking about a 17-year-old actually competing with the guy who's beaten Power 4 teams and who's been a 4-star himself. He was a top 50 player. So for him to be able to compete, and I think that's a victory for Julian. But also the fact that Julian is making accurate throws, he's showing his cerebral nature. He's not the moment isn't too big. He's standing up in the pocket. He's climbing the pocket and make throws and making throws off schedule and off target, off platform as well. So I think Julian has shown a lot. With all that being said, Kaidon Salter is still Kaidon Salter. I think there's a lot to be said about how well he throws the deep ball. His athleticism has been on display. Today, I got to see them run a little more speed option, which I think is going to the more they run speed option, the more that's going to favor Kaidon Salter, who you have to give the nod to when it comes to athleticism. So I think just based on what the scheme is, if you want to go dink and dunk, I do think Julian Lewis will probably be the guy. If you're just going to air it out, you need short routes, intermediate routes. I think he would be the guy. But if you want to take some chances, if you want to utilize the run game from the quarterback position and take some chances deep, I think Kaidon Salter would be the guy. So I think just depending on what Coach Sherman wants to do offensively is going to probably dictate who wins the job.
Absolutely. And interesting. Now, I got two questions for you. I'll ask you about Salter in a second, but you mentioned both of their strengths. Is there a possibility that CU uses both quarterbacks going into this season? Is that a possibility?
I could see that. I 1,000% see a role where maybe you start K-Salt and you let Julian get his feet wet and some packages. Or vice versa. Maybe you let Julian come out and start the game like a starter. And you let K-Salt come in and kind of throw some things off and make the defense. I mean, imagine how tough it would be to prepare for two quarterbacks and two quarterbacks who do have those who don't have similar skill sets. Even though they do some of the same things well, I think they both throw the deep ball well. And I think I saw Salter throw some pretty nice deep outs today. He's got a cannon. Like he does that. I don't think I really recognized how strong his arm was until I saw it in person. But I'll say this: they're so talented. You got to find a way. Even if it's Jude, you got to find a way for Salter to get a package and vice versa because of the amount of talent. So I do see a world where that could happen.
Absolutely. And so let's focus on Salter. Obviously, experience going into his fifth year, coming from Liberty, 4-year starter, threw for over 5,000 yards, rushed for 2,000 yards at Liberty. Let me ask you, what is his potential as a starter? He seems pretty excited to be taking the reins from Shedeur. What do you think about his potential as CU starter going into this season?
Yeah, I think he can win 10 games with everything that's around him. I think that when you look at the Big 12, there isn't a boogeyman there. There isn't the UGA. There isn't the Texas. There are a lot of teams that have done well in the portal. I mean, you look at what Texas Tech has done, but when you have to replace the production that they had from their quarterback, who's now graduated. I forgot his name. Was it Tyler? Was it Tyler Shough? I think.
Yeah. Shook.
Yeah. So when you look at what they have to replace, and you go up and down the Big 12, UCF has a new coaching staff. I mean, TCU is looking to do some things, but I mean, Baylor won 8 games last year. I mean, there isn't a juggernaut in the entire conference. Even when you look at
And we're back, folks. Go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, become a member. Another Browns stat sheet has come out. Shout out to ESPN Cleveland again with the stat sheet. It's unbelievable. But the Browns wrapped up mini camp here the other day, and another OTA stat sheet has come out here, and people are freaking out about it. Everyone's like, why isn't Shedeur starting? Shedor's got to beat out Dylan Gabriel. I think it's pretty telling. If you're going to take away anything from this, they're giving Gabriel a lot of reps. I think there's a reason they drafted him in the 3rd round. People got to understand that he's a lefty. In order for teams to go all in on a lefty, you got to be committed to running your offense that way. There's certain plays you can't run with the left-handed quarterback. The ball comes off differently. Wide receivers catching it, it affects that. It's different coming from a left-handed quarterback. So that means the Browns were all in on getting a left-handed quarterback and drafting him, and they did. And then Shedeur fell to him, and that's that. So he's got to beat out Gabriel, but I expect him to. It's just going to take time. I don't expect him to start in the early weeks. And if he does do that, I think the Browns are not going to have a good season in that sense, because if Joe Flacco or Kenny Pickett or even Dylan Gabriel, for that fact, go in and start and they have any sort of success, they get to the playoffs or have a winning record, it's going to be pretty tough for Shedeur to see the field, in my opinion, if there's a quarterback that's working and successful. Now, that's no knock on Shedeur. That's just the reality of the situation. But it's kind of funny. Another OTA stat sheet. We're going to have some Cleveland Browns reporters on the show here in the next few weeks to talk about Shedeur, give us updates, have some boots on the ground coming from Cleveland here. So stay tuned for these shows coming up soon here. But another OTA stat sheet coming out. Who's the Browns running back this year? I mean, it's going to be running back committed by committee for Cleveland. They drafted Judkins. They also got Sampson coming from out here in Knoxville, coming from the Vols in Tennessee, who I saw is working with the wide receivers coach, I believe, to see him catch more passes in the pass game here as a running back, which is interesting. Sampson's one thing is consistent. Scored a lot of touchdowns, definitely is consistent, which I think Cleveland Browns could use, but definitely running back by committee for the Browns. I don't know if Jerome Ford's still on the roster, but if he's still there, I expect him to get a lot of burn as well. Let's go ahead and move forward. Talk about this is going to be interesting here. Colorado got some new turf in the Folsom field. First time since '98. They got some AstroTurf in Colorado. I think it looks pretty damn good. People ask me to take a look at this. I think it looks good. I mean, it's different. It's not grass, and it's really by preference. I've played on both. The field surface doesn't matter to me much. If I had visually looking at it, that looks better. Playing on it, grass is probably better, in my opinion, to play on. But visually looking at it, that looks pretty sweet. We got a video looking over the stadium here. I'm with it. I think it's going to be. When we get the stadium filled, games going, I think it's going to look pretty damn good. And different, but I think visually it looks great. See how players like it and stuff. I think it'll be a lot, maybe faster to run on. There's, Matt talked about that with the turf. There's something to think about there as well. But I think it looks pretty damn good. New turf from Folsom Field. Let's go ahead and move forward. Talk about Deacon Schmidt here. Matt and I interviewed Deacon Schmidt here a few weeks ago here. But let's go ahead and bring this up, talk about this. 4-star offensive lineman coming out of the state of Colorado, Deacon Schmidt, has narrowed down to his top 3, and he will announce his commitment on June 28th. His top 3 consists of Oklahoma, Colorado, and Alabama. Now, the interesting tidbit is, will he come and stay home in the state of Colorado? Now, Matt McChesney and I interviewed Deacon Schmidt and asked him about his takeaways from his visit at the University of Colorado here. And I want to go ahead and play this, folks. Take a listen to this. Definitely. Deacon, go ahead. Your biggest takeaways from the weekend?
Yeah, I mean, kind of the same thing as Breck. Like the coaches are really structured with how they see you fitting in, and what you need to do to fit in. They did the same kind of thing with me. They had a plan for me. Like it's super structured and very organized. Those guys know what they're doing over there. I mean, two of the three were in the NFL. There's some studs that are coaching there. So yeah, and then just the overall experience was awesome. Like, you get to hang out with those guys, and it's super relaxed and super fun. So it's always a good time to be in CU.
Now, I think it's going to be tough. You got also Brett Coolidge on there as well. I think it's going to be tough for Colorado to land both of these kids. I'm not even going to get into the flack with everyone talking about Matt McChesney's representing them. That doesn't mean anything about where they're going. It's just the fact of the matter. And I think it's going to be pretty damn tough for Colorado to land both of them, but I think Colorado has a shot to land one of them here, whether it's Breck or Deacon. One thing I'll say about Colorado, they're competing with the big dogs here, competing with Alabama, competing with OU. Alabama's got, one of the best offensive line coaches in the country, Coach Cap. Oklahoma, again, another great offensive line coach in Bill Beatenbaugh. And looking at Colorado, Andre Gerard, Colorado buff, NFL veteran. Now their offensive line coach, as well as George Hageman, who played in the NFL, as well, who Deacon mentioned. And then you got Gunnar White, who's been with Prime since Jackson State, kind of the recruiter, who's there as well. It's going to be interesting with Deacon, who I expect. I mean, I expect staying in the state of Colorado means a lot to him, but it's also, can Colorado compete with Alabama and Oklahoma financially? I think that plays a part in it as well that people don't want to admit. But this is the nature of college football, and it's a business. So that's just the way it is. One thing I want to talk about and show here is shout out to the folks at DMVR. Deacon, they asked him about what it would mean to stay in the state of Colorado and what the transformation of the Colorado Buffalo since Coach Prime has arrived. Take a listen.
Years ago, we kind of know the state of the program, but it's a lot different now with obviously Coach Prime at the helm. Every game's on national television, won 9 games last year. I'm just curious from your perspective, having, like I said, kind of grown up watching Colorado football up until now, how, in your mind, how it's kind of changed and evolved over the last few years.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I have a perfect example for you. Like a couple of years ago, I must have been in middle school, maybe even elementary school. I came to a Buffs game, and it was like, my buddy's dad had season tickets, but the tickets were cheap, and it's like there's barely anyone there, and they got beat by like Minnesota or something. And just to come back and see that Folsom is just popping every weekend. Like it's crazy to see the transformation that it's had. And I mean, it's kudos to Coach Prime. It's not just Coach Prime. Obviously, he's a big part, but he's got the pieces. It's Coach Prime and his pieces that are really changing that place around, and they've done a great job. And it's a completely different place, and they are going to be competing to play in the college football playoff, play for a natty. So it's just huge, and the transformation is crazy, and it's just like, it's pretty awesome to me as a kid from Colorado to see, like, they were 1-11 before Prime came, and now they're going to be college football playoff contenders. So it's pretty awesome.
Here's what I take away from. I don't know how much you take away from that, but listening to him talk about it, listening to him say Colorado is going to be competing with the best of them here, so to speak, and get to the playoff, or sounds like it. I mean, he sounds pretty optimistic about Colorado's future. And I've had a chance to interview both of these kids. I think they're both great kids, great players. They both have great mindsets. Have a great coach in Matt McChesney, who's instilling those core values and teaching what's important, keeping them on the right track. I think that's underrated as well. Great mindset with both these kids, him and Brett Coolidge as well. Now, from interviewing both of them, it sounds to me, I think Colorado has a much better chance of landing Deacon. Obviously, now Deacon, Colorado is in the top 3 here. I think Colorado's got a pretty good shot of landing Deacon. He sounds pretty happy. I mean, it's tough to tell. Colorado's at least competitive with the other 2 schools who both have great offensive line coaches. And the other thing I'll take away is this. Colorado barely ran the ball last year, especially, but the last 2 seasons. And they're still hanging with the best, in the offensive line category, at least with the coaches, so to speak, Oklahoma and Alabama. I think that's got to hold some weight. That makes me pretty excited. we'll see. Let me know in the chat. Do you think Deacon Schmidt's going to pick Colorado? I think wherever he picks, it's going to be a straight path to the next level in the NFL. I think Deacon's got that mindset. Great player as well. Great kid. Do you think he'll pick Colorado, folks? Let me know in the chat what you think about that. But Deacon Schmidt is narrowed down to his top 3 here, and he'll make a decision June 28th. Let's go ahead and move forward, folks. If you're watching, go ahead and hit that like button. Shout out to Will Shepard here. That's what I wanted to bring up. Will Shepard here catching passes from Bo Nix. Will Shepard's getting an opportunity. I think it's a tryout here, Broncos minicamp, and that's pretty good for Will Shepard. Failed a physical with the Buccaneers, which is, it's unfortunate, but it makes me excited. Dirk Deacon's from the state of Colorado. That's pretty big, at least from Windsor. And but going back to Will Shepard here, pretty cool to see him get an opportunity with the Broncos. We'll see if he works his way up and can have a shot at making the 53-man roster, get an opportunity. But I thought it was pretty cool to see that, and considering we saw him. Initially I think he was going with the Bucs and he failed the physical, but it was nice seeing that. Let's see if he can work his way up, maybe make the roster. Shout out to Will Shepard. That was a nice tidbit to see. Another nice tidbit to see, Colorado. Man, I'm going to call them the Jacksonville Buffaloes, man, because you got Travis, you got Cameron Stillman-Craig, you got BJ Green. There you go. The Jacksonville Buffaloes, man. I'd love to see it, though. You see him here taking a picture here and making a video. Hey, I love to see it here. Colorado Buffaloes working their way up. I just wanted to drop the little tidbit here as we talking all things Colorado Buffaloes on this show here on Bailey Price Media Live. Man, good to see that. Folks, if you're watching, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, and become a member. This has been a great show here on this fine Friday on Bailey Price Media Live. We're going to go ahead and be live tomorrow as well at 3 p.m. Eastern here as well. We're going live as much as we can here. Really growing the show here as we get closer to the season. I can't wait for football season. We're almost there. Can't wait for the season. Can't wait for football. I know football fans, myself included, are hungry and can't wait for football. So this is going to be the premier channel for all football fans and football fans only. So folks, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, become a member of the Bailey Price Media Army. If you'd like to call in, as we get closer to the season, we're going to have call-ins. Going to be hearing from you as well in the chat. I appreciate all you guys tuning in. Shout out to Dirk tuning in, my man. I appreciate you tuning in from now on, my man. I appreciate that. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Daryl Hopkinson, cheer Chris, always nice seeing you in the chat as well. Adam Marcy tuning in every show. And everyone else who tuned in, I appreciate you guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Tune in tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern. We're talking all things college football and NFL, all things football here on Bailey Price Media Live. Enjoy your Friday, and see you guys tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern. Peace.